CBC, 17th of September 2023, the Philippines says China's recent territory claims demonstrate an intent of expanding. This month, Chinese authorities unveiled a freshly created map that asserts their sovereignty over almost the entirety of the South China Sea, an area larger than India that stretches thousands of kilometers from China's coastlines to the territorial waters of Taiwan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Vietnam, and the Philippines. According to the English-language Global Times, which disseminates government ideology from the Communist Party, it was a routine exercise of sovereignty and compliance with the law. Seeing things differently, the Minister of Defense for the Philippines refers to the new map as control and occupation over the South China Sea. According to Gilberto Teodoro, who spoke with CBC News exclusively, the action absolutely proves China's intent of expanding and being more assertive. The integrity of the global system of rules is at risk if that is not halted. He claims that Chinese dominance over the South China Sea may jeopardize international freedom of travel. Even your supply chains will be negatively impacted for Canada if maritime lanes are closed. Prolonged disagreement. China, which currently possesses the most extensive fleet in the world, has been more outspoken about its numerous territorial and maritime claims. Filipino vessels trying to resupply a small military outpost on the Second Thomas Shoal were recently blocked and almost rammed by a Chinese Coast Guard vessel amid a decades-long dispute over the South China Sea and the Spratly Islands. The teardrop-shaped atoll is allegedly owned by China, a claim that led Manila to beach a decrepit cruiser on the shoal in 1999. Since then, it has defended its claim to possession by keeping soldiers on board. It is not China's exclusive economic zone, but the Philippines is where the land is located. China's claim was found mainly unconstitutional by an international tribunal favoring the Philippines in 2016. In response, Beijing declared the ruling to be null and void. Philippine boats are routinely harassed by Chinese police, who even use heavy water cannons. China has demanded that the Philippines leave the ship on the shore. In essence, Manila has said never. Two ships from Canada's Navy are presently in the vicinity, traversing the territories China has now claimed on its most recent map. By being present, Canada hopes to convey to Beijing that the South China Sea is an international waterway that ships from any country are welcome to navigate. Greetings to the Canadian warships, one is visiting his nation as a port call. He claims Canada is directly interested in this, even though it is across the ocean. He stated that freedom of air travel and navigation are at risk if China's claims are accepted. The contested area is necessary for much of Canada's trade to and from the Indo-Pacific region. China is growing, and allegiances are changing. China has long maintained and expanded its claims to the South China Sea, as evidenced by the most recent map. Following the map's publishing, Wang Wenbin, a spokesman for the Chinese Foreign Ministry, stated that China's stance on the South China Sea is unambiguous and consistent. We hope all relevant parties can maintain objectivity and composure and avoid overanalyzing the situation. China and the United States, which have long had disproportionate influence in the Pacific after World War II, are in a tremendous power struggle. China accumulated a sizable force while the Americans placed additional military hardware in the area. The U.S. Secretary of the Air Force outlined the stakes in a speech last week. War is not inevitable, Frank Kendall emphasized. Still, he also cautioned that China has been reoptimizing its forces for great power competition and to prevail against the U.S. in the Western Pacific for over 20 years. In September, Chinese Premier Li Qiang advised ASEAN member states that resisting picking sides, avert confrontation, and a new Cold War is critical. China has attempted to counterbalance U.S. influence among its neighbors, with some success in the Philippines during President Rodrigo Duterte's previous administration. China filled the hole left by Manila's departure from its long-standing alliance with the U.S. by investing through its Belt and Road Plan, funding infrastructure projects, and acquiring power. According to Renato de Castro, a respected professor at De La Salle University in Manila, a reconciliation was expected to lessen Chinese coercion in the South China Sea and assertiveness. However, that never took place. American sway. In light of these increasingly forcefully claims and maritime events, the current administration led by President Bongbong Marcos has pushed Manila back toward Washington. China, according to de Castro, desired essentially easy servitude. China ultimately drove the current administration into the arms of the United States, who were ready for them. Thus, China is the only one you have to blame. The Philippines military has historically prioritized internal security over fighting violent and deadly drug wars or Islamist insurgencies. However, China's numerous claims to its land and rivers now threaten it. According to de Castro, it's an expansionist power at this point. China received representatives from the Philippines in March 2023 to talk about the South China Sea matters. The two sides had a candid and in-depth exchange of views, and agreed to exercise restraint, China stated following the meeting. There have been several incidents in the South China Sea in the months following, while there has been no indication that China will give in or that the Philippines will give up its claim to the disputed territory. De Castro stated that this will deprive us of 85% of our exclusive economic zone if China's claims are not contested. The South China Sea is a barrier between China and the United States. Thus, our buffer is gone if China gains control of the South China Sea. The Philippines is crucial to the response if Taiwan invades. American warships often dock at ports in the Philippines, while Filipino soldiers train alongside American troops. Along with 4 additional military locations, the United States will also have access to an extended defense deal that, according to analysts, is meant to counter China. Those bases include 1 in the South China Sea's Palawan province and 3 on the main island of Luzon, which lies near Taiwan. In the Indo-Pacific, the United States has the most excellent forward-deployed naval presence, with around 70 ships and 27,000 troops and sailors. Most are based in Japan, and many are in Okinawa, an island near Taiwan. More access to the Philippines for the United States draws a straight line between Taiwan and the Chinese mainland. Some analysts have called an angled line a crescent of containment. A massive conflict between the United States and its allies could result from China's forced reunification of Taiwan with the mainland. The Philippines then plays a crucial role in that endeavor. According to Teodoro, China frequently says that we, Filipinos, are American puppets being employed to restrict China. I find it offensive, but when you use the word containment, are you not implying that you wish to go farther?